Ashleigh, Bretherton, who's a lighting designer, who's going to talk to us about more responsive lighting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'll read that. Okay, thanks. So, hi everyone. As I said, my name's Ashleigh. I'm a lighting designer at Stinson Barming, and Stinson Barming is a building service engineering firm. So we do also mechanical and electrical sustainability design. So just before I start today, I wanted to give you a little bit of background and examples on what sort of work that I actually do. So as well as interior lighting, we also work on exterior lighting and in the public domain. Some of our projects include lighting of the Bretherton shells at the Sydney Opera House, facade lighting at the from a magnified floodlighting and display of light. Takes down to the plaza, where changing projectors activate the space and they engage with the local community with users and apps, where people can come and change the pattern and colour. Christchurch Botanic Gardens, where we implemented a seasonal and curated lighting control system. And Bretherton Avenue Creative Centre, which aims to achieve a balance between architectural and public domain requirements. So where I'm coming from is a bit more of a public domain lighting and design approach. But through this experience, we understand light is a really fundamental aspect of how we actually perceive and navigate our space and the surrounds. And light in our night environment contributes to walkability for people, legibility of the nightscape, and sort of vibrancy in our public domain. As a lighting designer in these sort of spaces, it's important that we actually consider a balance between often competing elements. So it's really important our designs consider the need for darkness as well as the need for light, the functional requirements of the space as well as the experiential aspirations. So something we often grapple with is how can we improve our lighting approach to create the right and the increasingly, we need to talk about how we utilize space. And this sort of stems from the type of spaces that we're putting light in. If we look at natural environments, as we all know, they grow, they bloom, they hibernate, they change. And these botanic gardens, on one of my site visits, looking at winter and spring. And every time we went to site, something's always changing. And in a more urban sphere, as people move through an occupied space, sometimes there's lots of people, sometimes there's no one in the space, and at those different times, do we actually need the same amount of light? So, with this sort of transient nature of these spaces, is there an opportunity for us as lighting designers to use control as a tool to create more adaptive and responsive installations that respond? So I'm going to talk through two projects that I worked on today and sort of talk about how these ideas actually work. The first is Wing Airport in China. This is a natural wetland research centre. It forms part of the East Asian Australasian Flyway, so it was a very important environmental site. We worked on projects for lighting design in the concept phase with the Bretherton architects. Unfortunately, the project was terminated by the client after concept phase, which is a bit disappointing, but they had quite high expectations. We were able to develop some slightly new concepts. So the landscape design was such that there was a research centre over here, a car park, and then this ring road that we put around the site, protecting birds that were primarily used for bird watching and studies during the day and the evening. Our main challenge on this project was that whilst the visitor centre would close early in the evening, we could turn those lights off, no problem. The actual ring road and the wider wetland that sort of lived around this space, that remained open late into the night, primarily for researchers to keep undertaking their work. So our main challenge was how do we light this path and still provide a solution that minimises our ecological impact. So we started looking at different lighting typologies that could be used. And it's important to note here, we didn't have to achieve any high level of vertical illumination. There was no lighting requirement for the space. It was a private development, and we didn't really need to light the surrounding. The key criteria for this project was to really define the path from the wider wetland so that people could clearly navigate the space at night. So it's not a great illustration, but the solution that we selected was a very low so we shielded the light source in this way, and also by directing the light down on the part itself, we minimise the upward and the light trespass. So part of the strategy was to use a tailored spectrum, as we've been sort of to minimise the components of the UV spectrum, just to respond to the different spectral sensitivities that humans and birds have. Birds can see much more into the UV spectrum than we can. And secondary to that was that as the incidental light of the site reduced, so from the early evening into the later evening, the peak intensity of the light also reduced in relation to this. So it's really important for us to understand the use of the space. And talking with the client, they anticipated that most of the use would be in the early evening, and this would become quite intermittent late into the night. And so then we started to really question, no one's using the space at 3 a.m. the lights. We started to start looking at sensor lighting control as a way to manipulate the light space and just like the path that people are using in front and behind the navigation that turn it off when it's light. We did a bit of work with a bit of specialists on this project, and we understood that sort of big changes in the intensity or strobing or flashing of the light would be quite detrimental to the birds. So we're looking at technologies that could provide a very slow ramp rate in the dimming curve. So it was quite a subtle and smooth transition up and down, and that would sort of extend over the night. So whilst this idea didn't get further developed, new technologies such as Bluetooth control and beacon installations could be something that could actually provide more precise control. The sensors with the calibration and whatnot in the public space often do have issues in terms of being able to turn them on and off. So Bluetooth control is something we could look at going with lighting control. And how this works is a beacon can be installed in the light fitting, and when that connects to the Bluetooth device, say your mobile phone with an app, that could then actually activate the section of path that you're on. Because Bluetooth controls and the sort of traditional infrastructure you need, like data wiring, offers an easier way to program the lighting control than a different sort of technology. It does offer a feasible solution for clients to implement. So overall, the main approach to this project was to really provide lighting further context. We worked on the creative lighting master plan for Waverley Council, which for those who don't know is hanging around the Bondi Beach area in the city. The main premise behind the master plan and the objective that the council wanted to achieve was to create a legible nightscape that was vibrant and engaging, that people wanted to move around in and to enjoy the night time, primarily in the early evening and early morning. So part of the master plan sets out the technical requirements of the front section of the document, talking about how to use light, when to use it, what intensity of light we should have, and giving descriptions around the types of lights that would be appropriate to use. The second part of the strategy was to create a vision for each area. So our scope included Bondi Junction, Bondi Beach, and the Coastal Walk. Coastal Walk is a walk that wraps around the natural rock formations and the beaches, connecting sort of the different council areas. And as such, it's quite an environmental site. The concept was a string of bells, and what this means is that there are areas on that coastal walk that are for seclusion and contemplation, and there are areas that are for wider community gathering and social activities, such as the parks. So the overall approach was to have subtle lighting to the pathways, and there's periodic beacons, and these were to celebrate sense of place and create a memorable experience and support the pedestrian journey. Now, these installations were only proposed to be on in the early evening and the early morning, and then turned off later. So a key driver behind the current design, there's no lighting infrastructure there at the moment. The council did want to improve accessibility. This is sort of what it looks like in the early evening at the moment. People are actually using their phones to navigate the space, which is quite concerning to council, particularly on stairs at night time that were wet. People were having access. So as well as improving their pedestrian safety, we needed to maintain vistas to the ocean and night sky for the adjacent residents, because this does a lot of their part, and reduce our impact on the wildlife in the space. So, high levels of burning providing weren't suitable with a pole or a boiler type solution. So for this reason, we started working with council and sort of talking through how the space was going to be used and what their aspirations were. This was quite critical to the design process and what we could actually achieve, because as well as pedestrian safety, they were actually quite concerned with the political impact of installing lights in space that is currently dark. And through this process, we agreed that a P4 category could be applied to the path edge, and this could be reduced to P5 during the night. And what that means is it's a very low level of horizontal light with no vertical lighting requirement. This allowed us to have quite an integrated solution similar to the Lingang project, where we're integrating light onto the path. We also looked at using a warm light because the whole coastal wall, reducing the part of the spectrum and the UV and parks, beaches and promenades were proposed to be a little bit differently in terms of the nighttime use of the space, mainly in that sort of early evening, particularly in winter, so at the 4 to 7 o'clock mark when people still are out, gathering with their family and whatnot, through lighting key natural and architectural features. But the timing was quite an important part of the master plan in terms of setting out a strategy. And that's due to, if you have a static lighting approach, you end up with often consistently high light levels throughout the night, which are unnecessary and inefficient in terms of energy use. So it was proposed that these would turn off, I think it was around 9 p.m. And then after that, the functional lighting would remain on at a very dimmed level. And this was to correspond with the surrounding bus routes. So when the bus routes were no longer being used and there were less people on the space, the light levels were reduced. This idea was again applied to stairs, and the proposal was to provide sensor lights throughout the night. The draft master plan has now closed for comment, and as part of the other comments, they did install 2 pilot projects, one with the Bondi Junction, one with the coastal wall, and we didn't do cost of action plan as part of that strategy. So we expect that these projects will actually start to be rolled out quite soon. That's just a bit of a summary of some of the strategies that we're trying to use in implementing our designs, really creating adaptive and responsive installations that are a little bit more suitable for the environment, and that we like applying suitable light and suitable lighting control. As designers, we have a bit of responsibility to do so and can reduce our overall impact. Thanks.
Did you ever apply that gradual dimming and raising the lights somewhere else?
We have installed a similar sort of sensor technology at Bankstown, that one of those first projected images as a staircase, which is a little bit more dynamic as you up and down. So it has a base light level and then it ramps up when there's someone in space. So yeah, it is possible.
Questions, Ashleigh?
Your conversation with talking with client jail people over equal person.
For the residents, and also to minimise the ecological impact. And so as we sort of discussed what that meant to them, they were quite comfortable with this. And I think part of that as well is they don't have existing lighting there. So for them, it wasn't about providing this sort of luminous path that people could use. It was really just about navigation and that people wouldn't fall off the path edge. So the strategies we sort of put forward to them quite early in the piece to say, well, if we use this category, this is what we can achieve and this is the benefit of doing it. They were quite responsive to that. We did some workshops with not only the council team, but the wider council members, and then they also did stakeholder engagement. We had placemaking strategists as part of the team, and they were quite helpful in talking through those ideas as well.
When is that going to be installed?
Hopefully really soon. So they have installed a pilot project, which I don't think has been as successful in terms of the installation. It had a very short time for the budget, but once it's closed for comment, so it should be published soon.
I've only done the walking day, but it's too dark.
In any part of the project, you have a sit down and have a think about what critters might be there rather than just minimising the impact per se. So some critters, well, they have different needs, and yeah, was that part of it?
To be honest, no, it wasn't a strong part of actually looking at particular species. We did do some general research on the types of animals in the area, and from our own research, looking at sort of how we could look at the light spectrum and the intensity of the light, and also the direction of the light to try and not put it into, so just on the path and not off into their landscape. I guess also using a warmer colour temperature and trying to get out the blue part of the spectrum, so that graph is in the master plan. We just tried to minimise the impact that way. Also because it's a warm light, anywhere near the water, it has less penetration than say a blue light does. So they were sort of our considerations. We didn't have a specialist we could work with for this project.
Why not?
I mean, I guess it was more just a budget thing that council sort of, they had aspirations, but it wasn't something that they wanted to then hire someone else to come in and advise on.
The critters is a technical term.
Yeah.
It's a question of the.
My question was going to be quite similar, actually. I think that's one of the key things we're missing is you talked about they were concerned about that ecological impact. The impact is both physiological with melatonin and lots about that today, but the other thing is light is a barrier.
Yeah.
So light affects movement, not just the physiological thing. So it actually affects it. So if you put light in, even if it's dim at path level, you basically cut a sway through the environment. And I think that's going to be one of the missing pieces anyway, the types of things that we're doing is that needs to be part of that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm not blaming.
No, I totally agree with you.
Missing.
Yeah. And so that's why it was great on the Lingay project that we actually did have specialists we could talk those ideas through, because I mean research isn't on the light, it's not our primary focus as designers. So to have people that we can talk to advise on that, I think is really important. Yeah.
I mean, if you think about mining projects, you would have to have environmental assessment.
Yes.
You can throw lights into any environment in houses. That's
a fair comment.
Did you still want your question?
Yeah, I do. Just